Welcome back to the Halloween special, my friends. Yeah, I got some new stuff in the background. It is spooky season. We are getting fully into the spirit for sure. So let's continue the special by talking about another fun movie, a ghost movie, Casper. This premiered 30 years ago in 1995, and oh boy, I mean, this was a childhood favorite for a lot of my peers. But I think it was this viewing tonight where I fully realized how actually bad insane this film actually is. So we follow a kind young ghost named Casper, voiced by Malachi Pearson, who peacefully haunts a mansion in Maine. And there's a specialist played by Bill Pullman who arrives to communicate with Casper and his fellow spirits. And along for the ride is his teenage daughter Cat, played by Christina Ricci, who you might remember from the Addams Family. But get this, the ghost quickly falls in love with Cat, but their budding relationship is complicated not only by his transparent state, but also by his troublemaking apparition uncles and their mischievous antics. Now this comes to you from director Brad Silberling, who you might remember from Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events from 2004, Guilty Pleasure movies, Land of the Lost is another one he did. So he's not known for making massive box office hits, but this might be his most successful film, and it might also be his most star-studded film that he ever put together. Christina Ricci in this movie as our young lead is so freaking convincing and so good in this. I think she teeters that line of knowing how to react to Casper. She's shocked at first, definitely, but she grows fond of him, and she starts to get a little bit more level-headed about the situation. Bill Pullman as the father knows exactly what type of movie he's in. He is so over the top. It is just so fun to watch him. And also, of course, the next year he would be just as over the top in Independence Day. That might be another special holiday review I do next year for its 30th anniversary. Stay tuned. But you also have young Malachi Pearson at the time voicing Casper the Friendly Ghost, and man, he brings so much youthful enthusiasm to this part. And the CG, yeah, it does look a little bit dated. It does look like it came from the year 1995. But I think for the time, this was pretty darn good. And yeah, the fact that this ghost is falling in love with a human girl, like, it sounds absolutely insane. You know what it makes me think of nowadays? It makes me think of B-movie. Yeah, how odd is that? A bee falling in love with a human woman and she's kind of cheating on her fiance with a bee? Yeah, this is a little bit more innocent, but it's still really weird, man. You mean to tell me that ghosts can make their love interests breakfast? That scene was just so bizarre, but it's portrayed so whimsically. And speaking of whimsical, let's talk about James Horner and his musical score. I think this is one of the strongest aspects of this film for me personally, mainly because with how he gets the tone just right with the music, it also just makes you feel like you're stepping back in time, back into your childhood. Having this music in the background of this movie just makes you feel like a little kid again. And I think this is one of the strongest directed movies that Brad Silberberg has ever put out. Because again, that whimsical nature that he's bringing to the proceedings, it really makes you feel like you're young. Or younger than you actually are. And yeah, speaking of insane, a lot of things in this movie I completely forgot about. I'm going to spoil some stuff, so if you haven't seen Casper, it's 30 years old, you've been warned. I completely forgot that Ben Stein was in this movie portraying the lawyer for our villains. And he's going over the deeds to the house that Casper and his uncles reside in. Which, by the way, I will say, sorry to keep jumping around, the look of this house, oh my gosh. It reminds me a lot of Beauty and the Beast with how gigantic it feels and how grand it is. Production design team deserves massive props for their work on this. But you know what else I forgot? The cameo that Dan Aykroyd makes as Ray Stantz. That's right, one of the original Ghostbusters is in this movie, as one of the Ghostbusters. So in canon, Ghostbusters and Casper take place in the same universe. And Ray Stantz is leaving this house and basically saying, yeah, this is not the job for me. Like, that's nuts that this happened. Way before Marvel Studios was breaking the bank with their multiverse of madness, you were getting stuff like this. You were getting stuff like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Insane. Now, granted, yeah, there are a lot of things that feel very cheesy and very silly. Like the romance between Casper and Cat may not be overly convincing for a lot of people. And spoiler alert, the very sweet ending that you get with Casper wishing that he was a human boy for a little while, just to give Cat that dance. By the way, human version of Casper is played by Devon Sawa, who you might remember from Little Giants. Yeah, he was the good-looking all-star quarterback, Junior Floyd. How insane is it that he's in this movie too? But yeah, I think that's the best way I can describe this movie. Insane. But I think that's what makes it appealing for a lot of people, especially the folks who grew up with this. Because let's face it, very cheesy premise. This romance may not be believable for a lot of people, and if you can't suspend your disbelief with this, I totally get it. But the dialogue and the writing also feels like it's a little too stupid. Like, how about the scene where Christina Ricci is looking in the ghost's bedroom and seeing their names carved on the bed and saying something like, man, I wonder where Happy and Dopey are. Like, yeah, we get it. It's a Snow White reference. It's exactly like Snow White stumbling upon the dwarves' beds. We get it. But yeah, as dated as some of the effects might look and as stupid as some of the concepts might be, no denying that this is a very, very fun movie that people who grew up with this film definitely will watch this every year. And if you've never seen the movie iteration of Casper the Friendly Ghost, I highly recommend you step foot inside this mansion and check it out for yourself. Because who knows, you might make a friend with the ghosts along the way. See, that in itself was really stupid, oh my god. But I'm going to give Casper a B. Happy 30th birthday to this cult favorite. Again, check it out if you haven't already. Let me know what you thought of Casper. What are some of your most nostalgic 90s movies that you can't help but love, but some people might find dumb? I know it's a very specific question, but I love reading your thoughts. I love hearing what you guys have to say about movies. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Tap on that thumbs up as well. And thank you so much again for your continued support of the content. Y'all are the best. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.